So now I'm ready to start placing the bar magnets on top of each of its pairing magnet and kind of positioning each magnet to be in the center and kind of somewhat aligned with the pencil marks. And I'm hoping that when I do this and get all this stuff in the right spot, that I won't have a bar magnet that is extending out beyond the antenna array structure. I don't know if it shows up really well in the video or not, but I have lightly sanded the top of each of the bar magnets. Again, that's to give the glue better adhesion. I've done a similar thing on the bottom of the antenna structure. Is the areas out at the tips I have sanded down just to score the surface. The resin on the bottom is extremely smooth, and again, if you want good adhesion with the glue, you want to score that surface just a little bit, just to give it some scratches. So now I'll go ahead and try to line things up. Now the other thing I'm kind of encountering is the magnets that are going to hold the antenna horizontal antenna bars in are starting to interfere with the bar magnets. So I'm going to have to figure out a different strategy on how to do this. I suppose mounting the block magnets is not such a hot idea right now. So let me think about this a little bit, and I'll get back. I'll get back to you guys. Hopefully I'll have figured something out, and it won't involve removal of the 4 block magnets. I don't have to redo things. So let me think about this for a bit. I'll be back soon. I'm back, and unfortunately I didn't come up with any really slick ideas, so I was forced to remove the magnets from the antenna structure. As much a rework as that winds up being, it's actually probably a good thing, because one of the magnets was set back just a little too far. So when you happen to kind of be looking at the antenna structure from the top, the 2 horizontal antenna arrays weren't actually parallel with each other. So I had glued in a small disc, a small metal disc, a small disc magnet onto the end of one of the block magnets in order to make up for that little bit of difference, in order to set the antennas parallel to each other. Well, now that I get to redo all 4 block magnets, I've got an opportunity to set the one block magnet forward a little bit in order to get the horizontal bars to be parallel. So this is a positive to make out of the whole rework scenario. So I've got my magnets positioned where I think I want them, and now I'm going to go ahead and drop some glue on top of everything. Then I'll put the antenna array structure on top of the magnets, and then I'm going to put a bag of steel shot on top of the antenna structure to make sure that everything is nice and compressed. And then I'll wind up letting it dry probably for the remainder of the day. And we'll see how it all turns out. I want to be a little careful in that I don't wind up gluing the bar magnets to the riser, but we'll kind of take that as it comes. So now I'm going to go ahead, try to position the antenna structure where I think it needs to be based upon all of my pencil markings. Take a look at everything from the top, and that gives me an idea how well everything is lining up. I think this looks pretty good. Now I'll go ahead and put my weight on top, hold everything down. That'll be just great. So we'll come back and see whether or not I've glued this whole assembly into one solid piece when I get back. Okay, we're back. I am gonna see whether or not I've glued all this stuff together. Um, it's been about 2 hours since I put the glue and put everything together. So I think that's plenty of time for it to have dried. So let's get all of the extra weight out of the way. And what I think I'm going to do is slide off the risers and flip everything over, and then take the risers off. So that's good. The riser came off on that side. Riser came off on the port side. And now we're left with those 4 bar magnets. And they are on there pretty well. So I think that's going to work out really, really well. So let's put it together real quick. So port. And then the starboard. Oh, look at that. Whew. That is going to be nice. So now all I got to do is, once again, put those block magnets in the corners here. But this time I will properly position the one so I have nice parallel antenna array structures. This is really good. I'm really happy with this. That's on there well. I doubt I could probably pick up the whole thing, but oh no, can't pick up the whole thing. But definitely, I like how this is all playing out. I think I'm very, very happy so far with everything. So this is cool. All right, I'm gonna get to work putting the block magnets on, and hopefully the next time we're back, this will be a completely assembled antenna array assembly. So I'll be back in a little bit. I'm all done gluing the block magnets onto the resin antenna array structure, and I'm really, really happy with the final results. I've spun the whole unit around so you're actually looking at it from what I would consider to be the front side. This is the side that would face towards the bow of the Imperial Star Destroyer. As mentioned, I have glued the block magnets into the corners, and I had to use some accelerant on the CA glue, so I wound up using this Instaset because I was able to hold the magnet in place where I wanted it and then squirt some of the accelerant on it, and that cures the glue instantaneously. So then the block magnet would not be influenced by the bar magnet that's underneath this support. So I did that for all of them, and as I mentioned before, one of the magnets, if I can rotate this, this block magnet right here is actually a little bit forward of the resin model. If you can notice the little gap between the resin vertical support and the horizontal antenna array structure. That was so I got a nice parallel view of the two horizontal arrays when they're attached to the structure. So all of this is done now and can be disassembled. Notice how that riser came off with everything. So this all can now be disassembled and packed away into storage, which is a whole nother thing that I've got to start working on, is how am I going to store all these pieces. One last thing before I kind of move into what I hopefully will be the last phase. Some of you might wonder why I use the magnets on the risers instead of just gluing the risers onto the base. Bottom line was I wanted this to be able to store really well, and the shorter the height, the better. There's also the possibility of storing these columns on their sides, if you will, but I think storing it the way that it's meant to sit is probably going to be the best. So having these risers be added with the magnets later on just is a lot less storage that I have to deal with, just a little bit less height. So that's why I wound up using the magnets on the risers. So I think at this point the only thing that's left to do is the final painting. I'm sorry, not the final painting. I've got to do Got to do a little bit of magnet work on the bridge structure. A little bit of magnet work on the bridge structure, and then I'll be able to move on to final paint, and that'll be a lot of fun on the final paint. And I'll probably be taking a few videos as I progress through the paint. I'm gonna go ahead and slide the bridge in here, so you get an idea of what this whole thing is gonna kind of look like in the end. But so the next time we get going, I'm going to do a little magnet work on the bridge, and I'll show that in a little bit, and then we'll go into painting. And I think that'll wrap up everything for the ISD bridge and antenna array structure. So I think that's it for this status update. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to help us continue improving and expanding our channel's content.